Just into the WCNC Charlotte newsroom, no federal charges will be filed in the death of Shanquella Robinson. That's according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Robinson died while vacationing with friends in Mexico nearly 5 months ago. Today, the U.S. Attorney says they reviewed all evidence, including autopsy reports, and found the available evidence just doesn't support federal charges.
Just this past Wednesday, we learned that the federal prosecutors will not pursue criminal charges in the United States in the death of Shanquella Robinson. The FBI and federal prosecutors say that they have completed their investigation into her death. And although they are closing their case, they have not shut the door to the possibility of reopening it should new evidence become available.
Everything that was determined by the Mexican government that was included in the investigation would have been turned over to the U.S. government. So there is potentially information that we're not aware of that would have also weakened this particular case.
Currently, it's unclear how or if this will impact the request for extradition of Daisha Jackson, the aggressor identified in the video, as there is still a pending Mexican arrest warrant. And even though the family is disappointed, they are speaking out today and showing they are not deterred from the task of seeking justice for Shanquella. Today, there are talks of exhumation. We're going to get into it, but first be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on updates to this story, trending topics, and so much more. Now let's get into it. Yesterday, Salamandra said in an interview that they are very much considering exhuming Shanquella's body, that given the outcome of the FBI investigation and autopsy from the Mecklenburg Medical Examiner's Office, it is clear that they need a third and private autopsy completed for this case. Salamandra is speaking out since the news, and I'm seeing a difference in her demeanor these days. This is a mother in fight mode. She has respectfully given the federal government enough time to investigate. And in her own words, they have failed her and her family.
I feel that they should have took this case and took it serious when it first happened. They didn't step up to the plate and do what they needed to do from the very beginning. They said it was out of their hands, but it looked like to me they didn't try to do anything, and they really failed my family, as being the FBI and the government here. We has really been failed, because my daughter didn't deserve to die like that. And brother was in Mexico or wherever it was. And they need to make a law, let people know that you can't go out of town and do nothing to someone and come back and think that you's okay with it. There was a video, everybody seen the video. So there should have been some charges should have been made. And I'm talking about here in the United States.
They waited 5 months to share with this family the results from an autopsy that was completed 2 days before Shanquella was laid to rest. When Salamandra was asked, was she surprised with the outcome from the investigation? She said no. This courtesy of CBS News. Let's take a listen.
No, but I was disappointed because the simple fact is that they had enough evidence due to the video that was online. And they said it wasn't enough evidence, but I don't believe. And then they said that they don't know what was the cause of her death, but the cause of her death was due to the fight, from what we could see. And she said she didn't have a broken neck, and she also died from the swelling on the brain, but she also was beaten. So you can give me I feel that someone should have been arrested due to that. But they trying to say that it didn't. So I might have to have her body exhumed because we need another autopsy.
It is specifically stated in the 19-page American Autopsy Report that Mexico's cause of death is disproven. Dr. Thomas D. Owens, the American Medical Examiner, says in his report that the Mexican autopsy was partial, and because of that, it being a partial examination, Dr. Owens says that the Mexican Medical Examiner didn't even do the necessary procedure to expose and confirm a suspected subluxation. And he thereby disproves the Mexican autopsy's cause of death. In other words, he never made the proper incisions to expose this area so that a proper examination could be done. Basically, he never looked at her cervical vertebrae. Another shocking discovery from this autopsy is this statement: there is no evidence of any recent medical intervention. Do you remember the 14 rounds of CPR that Dr. Carolina claims she did? We all discussed how absurd that claim was, right? Those 14 rounds are beyond excessive and in most cases impossible for one person to perform. And the potential for damaging the body, specifically the rib cage, is increased and can become catastrophic. After 14 rounds, one would expect the ribs to be damaged. Dr. Owens states in his report that he sees no signs of recent medical intervention. And he also states in his report there is no damage to Shanquella's ribs. See it here. There are no fractures of the ribs or vertebral columns. And when I look at this diagram showing the condition of Shanquella's body, it is far more damaged than we knew. It appears she was dragged around quite a bit while laying face down, on her side, and her back. The abrasions around her abdomen are really quite alarming and strange. There are also some that are precariously located around her genital area. And although none of the reports speak of SA, it still leaves me with questions about how this could have happened. The most notable finding in Dr. Owens' report is the swelling found in Shanquella's brain. And when I look at the symptoms of brain swelling, or brain bleeding, I find some of the symptoms discussed by Nazir and found in the doctor's statements are consistent with this. You can see it here: vomiting, difficulty speaking, difficulty swallowing, seizure. To my subscribers, if you'd like to go through this autopsy report live with me, we can walk through it together. I'm not a medical professional, but I understand common sense, and we can figure this out together. Let me know in the comments. It is unconscionable how both governments handled this case. The delays and finger pointing are unforgivable. In my opinion, this is embarrassing for the United States. Shanquella has been disrespected at all turns. For Mexico, they're not embarrassed. They are known for this type of debauchery. They are just fighting for their secrets to be kept inside their borders so that tourists continue to visit. But all the lies, exaggerations, cover-ups, and delays raise a burning question. What does all this mean for the prospects of extradition? At the end of the day, we have the death of a beautiful young woman that needs to be properly accounted for. I'll keep you updated on the exhumation. It seems this family has no choice but to do this so that they can get to the truth of what happened and hold the responsible parties accountable. Shanquella deserves better than this.
It's been a nightmare. The whole 5 months ain't been nothing but a nightmare to me. We're going to keep going. We will be in Washington on May the 19th.
Don't forget May 19th in DC. That's the March on Washington. We need to represent for this family. Shout out to all my sources: CBS News, ABC News, WCNC. We stand with Shanquella Robinson. Justice for Shanquella.